Yes. Let's talk a little bit about how you can scale your business in 2025 in a way that is far more aligned to you, far more enjoyable, doesn't come at the cost of you having your freedom, enjoying your life, but also focuses on delivering excellent client results, right? It's easy to grow a business when you're not focusing on your current clients, but realistically, if you're a coach, you probably got into this space because you loved helping people, right? And as time has gone on, you've delivered more hats, right? There's more hats that you've got to put on. So you've also got to be a marketer and a salesperson and all this kind of stuff that takes you away from what it was that you loved in the first place. So I'm going to show you how you can build a program where you get to do more of what you actually love and focus less on the things that you don't enjoy. All right, so let's jump straight in. Now, when it comes to growing a business, this is sort of the process, right? You need traffic, so you need strangers who start to get to know who you are. So you need more eyes on what you're doing. You need a reliable way of turning some of those people into leads, right? And then what typically happens is most people will go straight from trying to turn leads into a client, right? So you might have a coaching program, maybe it's £250 per month or whatever it is, and you're probably trying to get people to go straight from your social media, straight into your coaching program, right? And it's really hard to do, because you're asking a very big commitment and a huge leap for someone to go from consuming your free content to suddenly committing to maybe a 3-month, 6-month minimum for hundreds and hundreds of pounds, right? And so over time, coaches will try this over and over again with not very much success. So that's why we have an intermediate step, which is to turn people into buyers, right? Because we know that when people start paying money, they are going to end up spending more money, right? So we want to create that intermediate step where they get to experience you, they get to see how awesome you are at your job, and then it's easier to convert into clients, right? And then the next part of the equation, which is typically where a lot of business mentorships kind of forget this part, or people forget that this is a core part of the equation, is that when you have a client, there is also things that you need to focus on, but that focusing on these things can be the biggest ROI for your business, right? So when somebody enters into your coaching world, from my perspective, we then want to focus on increasing the client LTV, right? The lifetime value of the client. So if they come into your world, they're paying you £200 per month, that's amazing. But rather than always having to fixate on this part of the equation, we also want to be able to focus on how can we increase the value of that client over time, right? And so there are 3 main ways that we can do this. We can basically keep the client for longer, essentially. So there's 3 more ways to make money. We can get more clients, charge clients more, or we can get clients to stay longer. So one of the ways then is to have really good retention. A second one is to get people to pay us more by having an upgrade pathway. And the third one is that by delivering great results, we then get more case studies, and those case studies then become marketing material, right? So one client who might be paying us £200 per month or whatever you're charging becomes extremely valuable over time if you are focusing on these things. Okay, and so my big thing is that we need to be focusing on this side of the equation far more than the left, which is like the opposite way to how people do it, right? Now, if we only focus on the left side, it's an extremely expensive way to grow our business, right? So it's expensive in terms of time. You have to take time building relationships and nurturing people. You have to spend energy in terms of content creation, marketing, conversations, all of this kind of stuff takes energy. And it also might cost money as well, right? In terms of ads to acquire clients, business mentorships, learning how to do these things. So it's a very expensive process. So it's harder and harder to get new clients. And on top of that, if you have a leaky bucket, so you have clients coming in, but you have people dropping off when they're on the inside, then all of this energy, time, and money that you're putting in to get a new client, they only end up replacing the clients that are leaving, right? So if 1 to 3 clients are dropping off per month, if you bring on 1 to 3 clients, they're only replacing what you currently have. So in order to grow your business, you have to focus on the right-hand side. But what I'm also proposing to you is that the best lead gen strategy is one that actually emphasizes the right-hand side more, because it's the cheapest way to get more recurring revenue per month than it is to focus purely on new customer acquisition. Okay, so essentially then, by focusing on this over here, we call that in Skill Coach Club, we would call that profit maximization, getting the absolute most out of your clients in terms of monetary value as possible. But this isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, get as much money from people. That's probably the wrong way to put it. It's you having massive impact and spending most of your energy with your current clients, spending your energy on making your coaching world amazing, making sure that you really truly help people to get results, to change their life. And then in exchange for that, you become more valuable to them, they become more valuable to you, right? So it's a mutually beneficial relationship rather than spending time with strangers in DMs who may or may not ever pay you, okay? We'll get into what that other principle that I'm just talking about there is as well. So it ends up looking like this, right? And we can call it we like a bit of alliteration. So we're going to call it the fulfillment flywheel, right? And so what ends up happening is you might have a funnel, or however you acquire clients, you put a little bit of effort into that, right? And then once you have a client though, this is where we utilize the flywheel to generate more income from current clients. So what we want to do is we want to focus our energy here, right? So we focus our energy on client fulfillment, getting the client the result, which is the bit that we love anyway. Now, when we do that, there are 3 great things that can happen. We can basically get the result, and this result, and because we've poured a lot of energy into our client, can then lead to social proof in the form of a case study, which then can go and help us to acquire new clients, right? When people see that a person like them has got an amazing result, it attracts them to also want to work with you. But not just that. If you're doing a good job with somebody, it makes sense that they might want to have more access to you or work with you more closely, because now they trust you and they're more bought in. It's far easier and more beneficial for them potentially to upgrade to a higher tier, right? This is obviously going to depend on your business model, which is something that we're going to get into. And also, for you, if you're doing a great job with your clients, they're also going to want to stay longer, right? So can you see how by just focusing on your current clients, it gives you 3 ways to increase your income as opposed to just focusing on new leads, okay? We have to do both, but I'm suggesting we put more energy here. So in order to do this though, we need 4 things. We need a service that actually gets results for people. Okay, we can't expect any of this to happen if we are not consistently delivering the results that we promise. So again, we focus a lot on talking about promises in the marketing. We need to focus equally on actually following through with the promise and delivering of what we're saying we're going to deliver. We also need social proof that converts. It's not enough that you just say, oh, this person, if it's the fitness industry, this person lost this much or whatever. We have to deliver the social proof in a way that actually converts and actually gets people to join our world, attracts people. So we have a whole document that helps you it's the 6 different types of ways to use social proof that's more effective. But you also need a business model that allows people to upgrade. So what tends to happen is online coaches will typically pick a one-to-one model to start with, which is fantastic, right? It provides the most level of support. But what ends up happening is people don't want to charge too high because they're worried about putting off potential clients, but they don't want to charge too low, otherwise they're never going to make enough money. So they just charge like right down the middle, okay? And the problem with this is that there's people that would actually pay you far more, and it's really hard to scale at this level because you still need quite a few clients, but you're having to work so much. And what that means is that in order to grow, you have to do more and more work, right? So it's not very leveraged. It's not going to lead to any freedom. And so growing is not going to be very beneficial for you, okay? So instead, what we want is we want to have different ways that people can work with you. Some that's going to allow them to pay you more and you're going to provide them with more access to you, and other ways that is slightly less, right? So that's your business model and how you set it up. Then you need a process throughout all of this that retains people. So when you do that, you are focusing on your world, you're getting results, you then know how to use those results to get more clients in. You're then encouraging people who are doing really well or people that really vibe with you to upgrade, to pay you more. And you're also retaining your clients for longer and longer. Now, the side effect of all of this and you documenting all of this is that people are going to be watching from the outside and realize that there's something really cool going on where you are in your coaching world, because we're going to be talking about this, right? That's another thing we talk about is magnetic marketing. Rather than you having to go out and search for people, you are pulling people into your world, attracting people. And that again focuses on when you focus on the inside of your coaching world first, right? So most marketing is outside in. It's outside of your coaching world and it's trying to pull people inside. What we're talking about instead is inside out marketing. You focus on building a really brilliant coaching world, and that will then attract people. Okay, kind of touched upon it earlier, so I'm just going to mention it quickly here, is that we do have finite amount of energy. So we can't spend time on sales calls and delivering a service and creating content and marketing and admin and all this kind of stuff, right? We've only got so much energy. So the strategy that I propose, we call it in SCC, the energy waterfall, right? And essentially what that is then is that we have our coaching world here. We pour our energy into our coaching world. So we serve our current clients. We do a really amazing job. We do the things that we said up here in the flywheel. Okay, if I can find it. We do things up here in the flywheel. Okay, and then what ends up happening is we then trickle it down, and what we would call this the buyer's ladder, right? And so we have strangers at the bottom. My handwriting is terrible, sorry. We have followers, we have leads, and we have buyers. right? And then what ends up happening is the energy trickles down. So you spend less time the further down the ladder that you go. And the way that we do this then is we create assets and we create things inside our coaching world that is absolutely amazing, that our clients love, that gets the results. We then use these assets to attract buyers and to attract leads. And then that ends up attracting people, right? So it's inside out marketing, not outside in. We're not down here trying to convince people to come up here, right? We're going a little bit off tangent. Let's go back to the point. So if this is sounding pretty cool and you're like, shit, yeah, that's exactly what, I want in my business, then here is the way that we kind of go about it. So like we said, you need these things, right? You need to be able to get results. You need social proof that converts and all this kind of stuff. So in SCC, this is exactly what we specialize in. We specialize in you being able to grow a business in a way that feels good without taking up more time, because we focus on this profit maximization principle. We do also talk about lead gen and stuff. It's just not the emphasis, right? Because we want to focus more on your coaching world to draw people in. So the first thing that we do is we build your signature program. Okay, that's this bit. We build the perfect program for your dream client to get them results consistently. So rather than you having to one-to-one deliver things to everybody, instead we turn that into a process, a repeatable model, which then makes it really easy to market, by the way, because you're crystal clear on the process. That's the first thing that we do. Then we focus on attracting the right people through the assets that you've created, for example. And there are other things that we do. And so then we attract people into our world. Then what we do is we then focus on the profit maximization process, right? That flywheel that we're talking about. We go into how to get the social proof, how to share the right kind of social proof. We talk about what business structure that you need, how to ask for upgrades, how to get the upgrades. And the most important thing is that throughout all of this, we are building you a coaching world that retains your clients and a coaching world that you love and that your clients love. Okay, so what you end up with at the end of this process is you have a very, very high leverage delivery model. You have a world that you love that can run without you, and also you're in there. You're having massive impact and you're finding it easy to scale because you don't have to spend too much time working inside your business, and you're not having to spend too much time grabbing new leads. Okay, so this is kind of the process. We call this the skilled pathway, right? So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go through today, and just really, really encourage you to realize that this side of the equation is super expensive, right? So if you can focus more on the right-hand side, it's the best thing that you can do this year for your business. All right, catch you soon.